sounds in our surroundings in our daily life. When a lion roars, we hear a sound. If we pluck the string of a musical instrument, say a guitar, we hear a sound. Water pouring into a glass, bat hitting the ball, water hitting the rocks, etc. are some of the examples of different sounds. Sound plays a very important role in our life, and most importantly, it helps us to communicate with each other. Have you ever thought about what actually produces the sound? To answer this question, first we need to understand vibration. What is vibration? It is to and fro or back and forth motion of an object. For example, if we stretch this rubber band with one hand and pluck it in the middle, it starts to move back and forth. In short, it starts to vibrate. It is this vibration that produces the sound. Yes, anything that vibrates will produce sound. We will learn more about this in the next video. We know that the voice of adults and children differ. Why is it that the sounds are different? What separates the sounds? Why is it that some sounds are louder than the others? Why are some of the sounds pleasant while other ones are annoying? We will answer all these questions in the coming videos. These are the points that we are going to elaborate on in this series of videos based on sound. Vibrating bodies produce sound, medium of propagation of sound, amplitude, frequency and time period of vibration, loudness and pitch, audible and inaudible sounds, noise pollution and measures to control it. Do watch our coming videos to learn about these concepts. You know that someone is standing outside your door when you hear the doorbell. The sound of the doorbell traveled to you. Can you guess how it traveled? It traveled through air. Yes, here the medium of propagation is air. Sound requires a medium for propagation. Is the medium always air? Not necessarily. The medium of propagation of sound can be solids, liquids or gases. Yes, sound can also travel through solids and liquids. Before we get to that, let us see some other examples of sound propagating through air. Remember, air is nothing but a mixture of gases. Sound of the siren when the train is approaching you, sound of glass breaking, sound of the firecracker, etc. are some of the examples where the medium of propagation is air. Sound can also propagate through liquids. Let us do one experiment to see this. We place the bell in the water like this so that it does not touch the base of the container. Now keep one of your ears close to the surface of water and shake the bell inside. Do you hear the sound? Yes, you do. Here, the medium of propagation is water. What instrument does the doctor use to check the rate of your heartbeat? Yes, it's called a stethoscope. Doctors place the small disc-shaped object called a turnable diaphragm against your chest. The sound of your heartbeat travels through the tube and can be heard from the two earpieces. So can you guess the medium of propagation of sound here? Yes, here the medium of propagation is a solid. The tube through which the sound travels is the solid. Now suppose you're standing on one side of a brick wall and your friend on another side with one of his ears close to the surface of the wall. Hit the wall with some wooden object. Ask your friend if he hears the sound on the opposite side. I'm sure he will say yes. Here the medium of propagation is again a solid. So with the help of a few examples, we saw that sound can travel through solids, liquids and gases. But does it mean that sound can travel through anything and everything? The answer is resounding no. The sound cannot travel through vacuum. What is a vacuum? It is a space from where all or most of the matter is removed. Example is outer space. Yes, we cannot hear sound in outer space. That is why they say, in space, no one can hear you scream. In the next video, we are going to talk about some important properties of sound known as amplitude. The medium can be a solid, liquid or gas. For example, a doctor uses a stethoscope to hear the sound of our heartbeat. Here the medium of propagation is a solid. Can you think of any example where the medium is a liquid? When you place your ears close to the surface of water, you will still be able to hear the sound from bodies or objects inside. Yes, this is an example where the medium is a liquid. And air is the most common medium through which the sound travels. And air, as we know, is gaseous. What is a vacuum? Vacuum is a space void of any matter. It means that it's a space that does not have any matter. For us humans, it's practically impossible to find or create 100% vacuum. But is there any place which comes close to a vacuum? Yes, the outer space is the closest approximation to a perfect vacuum. This is the reason why we are unable to hear any explosions from stars or planets here on Earth. As outer space is almost a vacuum, the sound from these explosions cannot travel to us. Let us see one experiment. Here we have an electric bell jar. A bell jar is a glass jar whose shape is similar to that of a bell. So we have a glass jar in which electric bell is fixed with the help of a cork. We call it an electric bell because it requires electrical energy to work. This bell is connected to an external battery and key. The glass jar also has a vacuum pump attached to the bottom. When we close the key, the current starts to flow and the hammer starts to strike the gong and continues to do so. We hear the sound clearly. Now we start pumping the air out of the glass jar through the vacuum pump. Is the sound getting louder or is it getting fainter? Yes, the sound is getting fainter. We see that as the amount of air is reducing in the jar, the intensity of sound is decreasing. Although we can see the hammer striking the gong, the sound we hear is very feeble. This is because we create a vacuum inside of the glass jar when we remove the air out. Note that earlier we said that we cannot create 100% vacuum. Hence we cannot remove all the air from the glass jar. So there will be some soft sound that we will be able to hear. We can also perform the same experiment using an alarm clock. Instead of the electric bell, we place ringing alarm clock inside the glass jar. We don't need battery and key in this case. Initially, we will hear the sound of an alarm. But when we try to pump the air out of the jar, the intensity of sound will get lower and the sound will get fainter. Note here that the alarm clock should be chosen in such a way that it can easily pass through the opening of the glass jar. Let us do one more experiment which you can perform at home. Take an empty glass and a cell phone. Keep this cell phone in an empty glass. Ask someone to give you a ring on this phone. What do you notice? Yes, you will hear the sound loud and clear. Now if you put your hands around the open face of the glass like this and try to suck the air from the glass, do you hear the same intensity of sound? Is the sound getting fainter now? Yes, we see as we suck the air out of the glass, the sound gets fainter. And why is that? It's because a new vacuum is created in the glass when we suck the air out from it. We have seen how sound propagates through a medium. When the object vibrates, it creates the disturbance in the surrounding medium, and this disturbance is what we call a sound wave. The wave travels in the medium in the form of compressions and rarefactions. But in which direction do the particles of the medium vibrate? Before we answer that question, we will talk about longitudinal waves. What are longitudinal waves? Let me tell you the fancy definition first. Waves in which the particles of a medium vibrate in a direction parallel or anti-parallel to the direction of energy transport are called longitudinal waves. What does that mean? Before we get to the statement, do you remember what parallel and anti-parallel mean? Parallel would be two vectors like this, and anti-parallel will be two vectors like this. Parallel but in opposite direction. Now coming back to the statement, it means that if the wave travels in this direction, then the particles of the medium also move to and fro along this direction only. So the displacement of particles is parallel or anti-parallel to the direction of the propagation of wave. Is sound wave a longitudinal wave? Take this example and try to find out. Yes, sound waves are indeed longitudinal waves. We see this in this example that the particles of the medium are vibrating in the direction of propagation of wave. Sound waves are also called pressure waves. Can you tell me why? It is because the sound wave consists of the repeating pattern of high pressure regions called compressions and low pressure regions called rarefactions through the medium. But wait, hold on. Are there waves in which the displacement of particles of the medium is not in the direction of propagation of the wave? The answer is yes. Let's see one example in which the propagation of the particles is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. Take a string with one end fixed to the wall. This end is fixed at the wall here, and this one is in your hand. We see a wave when we give the string an upward jerk from this end. What do you notice here? In what direction are the particles of the string moving? Up and down, right? And what about the direction of the propagation of the wave? It's moving to the right. Let me repeat it once. The particles in the string are moving up and down while the direction of propagation of the wave is towards the right. The particles are vibrating in a direction perpendicular to the direction of the wave. Up and down while the direction of propagation of the wave is towards the right. The particles are vibrating in a direction perpendicular to the direction of the wave. Such waves are called transverse waves. So are sound waves transverse waves? The answer is no, and it's because the particles of the medium are vibrating in the direction of propagation of wave. Here is a quick recap of what we did today. We saw that longitudinal waves are the waves in which particles of the medium vibrate in a direction parallel to the direction of motion. Sound waves are longitudinal waves. Sound propagates through the medium in the form of high pressure and low pressure regions. Hence, sound waves are also called pressure waves. And at the end, we saw what transverse waves mean. They are waves in which particles vibrate at right angles to the direction of its propagation. In our previous video, we studied that sound needs a medium for propagation. That is, it requires some medium to travel from one place to another. But how does it really travel through the medium? What happens to the particles of the medium? Let us find out. We now know that sound is produced by vibration. When the object is vibrating, it sets the particles of the medium around into vibration. In the process, the nearest particles to the source gets displaced from their mean or equilibrium position. They start to collide with the particles adjacent to them. The adjacent particles then also get displaced from their mean positions. They in turn do the same to their neighboring particles. This process continues in the medium till the sound reaches our ear. We see that we create some disturbance flowing through the medium. This is the way that sound travels through the medium. We see that particles of the medium are not traveling from the source to the human ear. It is the disturbance produced by a source which is traveling in the medium. The particles are merely oscillating from their mean positions. This disturbance created by the vibrating object in the medium is what we call a sound wave. But what does this disturbance look like? Let us study this with the help of a tuning fork. Here we take air as a medium of propagation. Here we have a tuning fork made up of steel. This shows the initial condition of the air particles of the medium when the tuning fork is in its original position, that is, when tuning fork is not vibrating. When we strike its prong on a rubber band, we start hearing a sound. How does the sound travel through the medium? The two prongs of tuning fork are vibrating. Let us concentrate on motion of one of the prongs first. Say the one on the right. When it's away from its mean position, it pushes and compresses the air particles around it. This creates a high pressure region, also called compression. This compression travels in the medium as a disturbance. Here the density is high. That is, the particles are very close to each other. When the prong comes towards its mean position, the pressure on the right decreases and keeps on decreasing further as the prong continues its motion towards left. This creates a low pressure region, also called as rarefaction. We see that at this point, the compression in the form of disturbance has reached this region. This rarefaction also travels in the medium as a disturbance. Here the density of particles is less. That is, the particles are far away from each other. As it continues to vibrate, we get a series of these compressions and rarefactions. This continuous sequence of compressions and rarefactions is what we call sound waves. Yes, the sound waves travel in the form of compressions and rarefactions. Instead of the tuning fork, if we take any other source of sound, say the speaker, then the sound waves generated by this object will also travel in the form of compressions and rarefactions. Here is one interesting question. Is the sound wave a mechanical wave? Do you know what a mechanical wave is? The mechanical wave is a wave that requires some material medium to travel. And as we know, a sound wave also requires some medium to travel. So yes, it is a mechanical wave. How do you define vacuum? Can sound travel through it? To find the answer to these questions, you have to wait for our next video. See you there.
नया कैडबरी डेयरी मिल्क इन लिकाबल्स, एक्साइटिंग छोटा भीम टॉयज के साथ।
From our past videos, we know that light follows law of reflection after being incident on a surface. Like the light waves, sound waves also get reflected from the surface of a solid. They also follow the same law of reflection. Let us see what that law is. Say we have our source which is emitting sound, and assume one of the sound waves strikes the surface at this point. Let's draw a normal to this surface. Normal is nothing but the line which is perpendicular to the surface at the point of incidence. Now this wave will be reflected from the surface. The law of reflection tells us that this sound wave will be reflected back in such a way that the angle of incidence I is equal to the angle of reflection R. Also, the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal will all lie in the same plane. What if a wave is incident perpendicular to the surface? Well, in that case, the reflected sound will travel back in the opposite direction along the same line. Here is one demonstration that you can perform at home to verify these laws. Take two small hollow cylindrical shaped objects which are open from both ends. Two straight hollow pipes would suffice. Place them on the table like this near the wall. We also need to make sure that the table is covered with a white cardboard paper before keeping the pipes on it. Place a running clock near the open end of the pipe facing you. And now keep your ear near the open end of the other pipe. Did you hear the sound of the ticks coming from the pipe? Adjust the pipes a little until the sound is clearer. At one point, it will be very clear. This is an example of reflection of sound. Yes, you are hearing the reflected sound. The sound wave from the clock passes through this pipe and is incident on the wall. It gets reflected and passes through the other pipe and enters your ear. You will notice that these two angles are approximately equal. The angle of incidence will be equal to the angle of reflection if we ignore any human errors. Echo is another example where one is able to hear the reflected sound. What is an echo? The repetition of the same sound again and again is what we call an echo. Where do we hear an echo? Well, we usually hear it in empty spaces bounded by at least one tall surface. For example, when we're inside a large canyon or when we're shouting in a deep empty well from above. If we clap in an open space standing against a tall wall, we will also hear the sound of our clap again and again. Why does it happen? The sound from a clap travels in all the possible directions. When it collides with the obstacle, it gets reflected back. These reflected sound waves then travel towards us and we hear faint repetitions of our clap again and again. But hold on, are there any conditions? Or will we hear an echo in any and every case? Yes, there are a few conditions. The echo depends on the temperature of the surroundings and the distance between you and the point of reflection. Let me give you an example. Assume that the temperature of the surroundings is approximately 22 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, the distance between you and the wall has to be at least 17.2 meters for you to hear an echo. Only if it's equal to or greater than 17.2 meters, you may hear an echo. Otherwise, you wouldn't. But why did we have this condition? What if the temperature is different? What if the distance is less than 17.2 meters? Are there any other conditions apart from temperature and distance? We will answer these questions in our next video.
पिछले वीडियो में हमने देखा कि कैसे साउंड एक सॉलिड सरफेस से रिफ्लेक्ट होती है और कैसे साउंड की रिफ्लेक्शन की वजह से एको बनती है। पिछले वीडियो के अंत में हमने आपसे कहा था कि एको सुनने के लिए आपके और दीवार के बीच की दूरी कम से कम 17.2 मीटर्स होनी चाहिए। लेकिन ऐसा क्यों? चलिए देखते हैं। मान लीजिए कि साउंड वेव सरफेस पर परपेंडिकुलर इंसिडेंट होती है और न कि एक एंगल पर। ये बस चीज़ों को सिंपल रखने के लिए। चलिए आपको एक इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट बताते हैं। जो साउंड हम सुनते हैं वो हमारे दिमाग में 0.1 सेकेंड तक रहती है, लेकिन ये फैक्ट हमें एको समझने में कैसे मदद करेगा? हमें एको इसलिए सुनाई देती है क्योंकि रिफ्लेक्ट हुई साउंड हमारे कानों तक 0.1 सेकेंड के बाद पहुंचती है। जब आप एक बार ताली मारते हैं आपको साउंड सुनाई देती है। रिपीट होती साउंड को सुनने के लिए ओरिजिनल साउंड और रिफ्लेक्टेड साउंड के बीच का टाइम इंटरवल एटलीस्ट 0.1 सेकेंड होना चाहिए। एटलीस्ट का मतलब ये इस वैल्यू के बराबर या उससे ज़्यादा हो सकता है। चलिए अब देखते हैं कि आपके और ऑब्स्टिकल के बीच की दूरी कम से कम 17.2 मीटर्स क्यों होनी चाहिए। इसके लिए हम स्पीड डिस्टेंस टाइम फॉर्मूला यूज़ करके इस डिस्टेंस को कैलकुलेट करेंगे। चलिए इस डिस्टेंस को d मीटर्स मान लेते हैं। हम जानते हैं कि 22 डिग्रीज पर हवा में साउंड की स्पीड v 344 मीटर्स पर सेकेंड होती है और जो टाइम t है वेव के दीवार तक जाके वापस आने के लिए वो 0.1 सेकेंड के बराबर या उससे ज़्यादा होगा। तो क्या वेव द्वारा ट्रैवल किया गया डिस्टेंस d है? यहाँ ध्यान दें, वेव दुगुना डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल कर रही है क्योंकि वो इस पॉइंट तक जाकर वापस आ रही है। 0.1 सेकेंड में साउंड वेव 2d मीटर्स का डिस्टेंस कवर करती है। हम जानते हैं कि डिस्टेंस स्पीड और टाइम के प्रोडक्ट के बराबर होता है। यहाँ हम जानते हैं कि 2d इज इक्वल टू v टाइम्स t होगा। अब आगे क्या? हम जानते हैं कि t 0.1 सेकेंड के बराबर या उससे ज़्यादा होगा और v कांस्टेंट है। अब इस पार्ट पर ध्यान दें, ये हो जाएगा ग्रेटर दैन और इक्वल टू 344 टाइम्स 0.1। इन दोनों का प्रोडक्ट होगा 34.4 मीटर्स। अब लेफ्ट में क्या टर्म है? जी हाँ, 2d। तो हम दोनों साइड्स को 2 से डिवाइड करेंगे। फाइनली हमें मिलेगा d ग्रेटर दैन और इक्वल टू 17.2 मीटर्स। इसलिए हम कह सकते हैं कि एको सुनने के लिए आपके और दीवार के बीच की दूरी कम से कम 17.2 मीटर्स होनी चाहिए। लेकिन ज़रा रुकिए, यहाँ 22 डिग्रीज टेम्परेचर पर साउंड की स्पीड 344 मीटर्स पर सेकेंड थी। क्या होगा अगर टेम्परेचर 45 डिग्री सेल्सियस हो? हम जानते हैं कि जैसे टेम्परेचर बढ़ता है हवा में साउंड की स्पीड भी बढ़ जाती है। इस टेम्परेचर पर साउंड की स्पीड 358 मीटर्स पर सेकेंड होती है। अब अगर हम d की वैल्यू कैलकुलेट करें तो हमें ये मिलेगा, d इज ग्रेटर दैन और इक्वल टू 17.9। तो अगर टेम्परेचर 45 डिग्री सेल्सियस है तो हमें एको सुनने के लिए कम से कम 17.9 मीटर्स दूर खड़ा रहना पड़ेगा। चलिए हम आपको एक और सिचुएशन देते हैं। अगर आप बेडरूम में ताली मारें तो क्या आपको एको सुनाई देगी? पहली बात तो यह है कि हमारा बेडरूम काफ़ी चीज़ों से भरा होता है। एको सुनाई देने के लिए एक खाली जगह की ज़रूरत होती है, इसलिए इन ऑब्जेक्ट्स और दीवारों पर इंसिडेंट ज़्यादातर साउंड इनके द्वारा एब्जॉर्ब हो जाती है। दूसरी चीज ये कि ये सारी चीजें उतनी दूरी पर नहीं होती जितनी कि एक एको सुनने के लिए चाहिए होती हैं, इसलिए हम मल्टीपल साउंड्स नहीं सुन पाते। लेकिन क्या होगा अगर हम एक रूम में हैं जो खाली है और बस उसमें 4 दीवारें और एक छत है, क्या तब हमें एको सुनाई देगी? ये हम अगले वीडियो में देखेंगे।